Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Greg. I'm going to go over the cryptocurrency market, Bitcoin, and some other assets, including Cardano, Link, a little bit, XRP, and kind of show you some information why I think here, don't know when it's going to happen, but the Fed is probably going to pivot. I'm not going to say this year, but it's probably going to be sometime in the beginning of next year based off the data that I'm looking at and everything, putting some stuff together with charts. And by the way, if you just land here, drop a like, hit the subscribe button. That'd be greatly appreciated. New subscribers, I appreciate you too. Made a few tweets that Bitcoin is a asset they can see into the future, probably about 6 months, 9 months, depending on who you talk to. Most people will say 6 months, maybe even 9 months. So if you think about it like this, Bitcoin right now, even though we're in October, Bitcoin's probably in March, April, maybe even May. That's how the markets work. They project the future more or less, what will be happening in the future. So here's the deal. I'm going to show you why I think you have a really good shot that there could possibly be a fairly dynamic wave with Bitcoin and some other assets, possibly what I was talking about, the FOMO fifth wave coming in with Bitcoin. And I made a video a while back explaining this. I don't know if somebody caught it. That I thought with the Fed, what the Fed was going to be doing is they're raising rates, and we're going to start having a more common whipsaw effect like this. Okay. And the reason I said that is because one, there is an issue with all the debt that the Fed has, and anytime they raise interest rates, these problems that are arising in the United States economy, it's not so bad, but obviously other economies around the world. For example, the Bank of England had issues. They couldn't even get to quantitative tightening. They had to flip to quantitative easing. They couldn't even get to it. And I think something similar is probably going to be going on with the United States, except you could say that we're probably a little bit better off. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that the Fed is going to flip, the next meeting or anything like that. I think there's still more than likely, I would be planning on a 75 basis point rate hike and then probably another 50, then maybe another 25. And I think at that point, there's going to be a pivot. Can Bitcoin still go up at that point? Yes, it can. I proved to people in other videos that assets can go up when interest rates go up. That is possible, even an asset like Bitcoin. Is it more difficult? Yes, it is. They have headwinds, but it can go up. And I do think that the bottom is being formed. The bottom is being formed right now with Bitcoin and other assets. So the whipsaw effect. Now, one of the things I was doing, I was studying this chart. This is the GBTC, a grayscale Bitcoin trust chart. If Bitcoin goes up, this goes up. So this last wave, you can see right here that GBTC went up 10x. You had a 10x move if you were able to buy the dip in March of 2020 until February of 21. It went up. Okay. But I was also studying this chart, and GBTC is making an expanding diagonal. Okay. And it is a move that does happen. One of the areas I go to is called elite currency, I think is how you say it. Here's an example of a couple of expanding diagonals. As you can see, they do exist. There's another example would be XRP over here is actually in an expanding diagonal. Okay, so you have an asset there. You have an example here. And you have a good shot that this is in one too. But what does that mean? What that means is this fifth wave on this asset needs to be bigger than this third wave. Okay? And if that's the case, your minimum target for GBTC is 116.56. At a minimum, it has to at least do that, and has to actually breach that, because the fifth wave needs to be bigger than the third wave. So the first wave is smaller than the third, and the third will be smaller than the fifth. If GBTC is going to make this move like that, that means Bitcoin was 62,000, 64,000 when it was there. So more than likely, it might get a little bit higher. So this, what I'm saying, if it's making this move, the Fed's probably somewhere along the line is going to be turning on the money printers, according to this chart. Okay. MicroStrategy is in a similar type of pattern too. Not similar, it's the same pattern, it's just different. You know, with its wave one here, it came over with a wide, very long, drawn out wave two, blasted up onto a three, a very aggressive wave four. So you see the four is opposite of the two. And MicroStrategy is going to be very, very volatile for the next few years. Very volatile, because it's going to do that move. It's coming back down here, and it's probably going to be blasting back over up into that area, like in that area over $1,000 again, only to come back down to those areas again. So MicroStrategy is going to be very, very volatile. Okay. Also, too, you know, just using so what's this going to happen with Bitcoin? My first analysis, or my analysis always been, is the Fed was probably not going to pivot for a long, long time. Not say a long time. I could say that I wasn't factoring that in at all, really. So my projection for Bitcoin would have been about 70,000 and then be done. But if they do, you have a good shot that this is probably going to go, I don't want to say substantially higher, but I would bust it up to like maybe 90 or 100 for Bitcoin, just because of this right here, guys, on GBTC. Okay. Because if this is an expanding diagonal, and it has all the characteristics of an expanding diagonal, it fits all the criteria for one. And more than likely, it's going to have to be a leading diagonal. So this is some sort of wave 1, 2 that it's making, because these are motive waves. And there's a 1 here, there's a 3 here, and it's missing a 5th. Just like XRP. XRP has a 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's missing a 5th. And XRP is set up to do a 5th wave. GBTC is set up to do a 5th wave. Bitcoin is set up to do a 5th wave, to make that bearish divergence. That's why it's down here so low, to make a bearish divergence. So, and then if you see these waves, you take the other examples I'm looking at. Here's Cardano. Cardano is 1, 2, 3, 4, set up to do a 5th wave. Link, 1, 2, extended 3rd wave, back down for 4, a deep 4th wave, and set up to do a 5th wave. So I'm pretty confident with Bitcoin is at the bottom right there. And we're in the turnaround point. It's just taking a matter of time and patience because of what the macro environment. It's just slow. Now, this $12,000 Bitcoin, or these area of Bitcoin, can't go down there. Not now. It's not. To me, it's almost impossible. All you have to do is show the bears this chart. This asset, GBTC, it's not going down there. It's not following that much. This is not going way down here, guys. It's finishing a correction, and it's getting ready to do this run right here. Okay. Now, I'm not going to say that it's going to blast up here. You know, it could be along this trend line for, if you take an example right here, in this area, once it hit the bottom, let's say right there, you know, it really didn't do anything for 98 days. So it was 98 days. So it could be down here and just going sideways for 98 days as an example, or 60 days, or maybe even 100 days or something, just right along there. And it gets ready to roll on out of there. So more likely what GBTC did in here are just 1, 2s, 1, 2s, and then it could roll out. And then with this 3rd wave, it already started the sequence. Don't know yet. That's just my estimate of what's going to be happening right here. And then it's just the same thing with Bitcoin struggling to get itself together right now in this mess that it has right here. Could it slip down a little bit more to just these areas, the top of the box or those areas? It could, but it's difficult to suss that out. But this is the answer, the key answer right here. And then also to think that these assets are setting themselves up to do it's possible they're setting themselves up to do a dynamic wave based on what I said before with the Fed doing a pivot. And the charts are telling me that's probably going to be happening a few months down the road. It's going to happen. And then the assets like Bitcoin MicroStrategy be finished. Now, MicroStrategy, you have to realize too that these assets do not finish up at the same time. So like MicroStrategy, as an example, I go here to the daily chart. MicroStrategy could still be in a correction, right? So it might be going up. As an example, MicroStrategy could be in a correction right now. Obviously it is, but let's just say this is an ABC, right? Because it needs to do a three-wave swing since it's an ending diagonal, and it could be doing something like this, and then just to finish it off, say to there at least. I think it needs to break at least that 148 or thereabouts, or somewhere in this area for MicroStrategy, and then it's going to be getting out of there. It doesn't have to finish at the same time as Bitcoin. I just want to let you guys know that. None of these assets have to finish at the same time. They'll just be in a correction, finishing, and then they go bullish. A good example of that is like reserve rights or EOS, a couple coins that they're not very popular. They've already finished their correction and they're already in a bullish sequence. They're just not going up as much as high right now because the other markets aren't fully bullish yet. I hope that makes sense. I was trying to explain that to you guys. So that's my thesis. I think what's going on based on just looking at this chart and studying it, and that there could be a massive run over here with this, if perhaps this is an ending diagonal. And it's definitely looking like it is. All right, guys, that's the end of my video. If you made it all the way to the end, do me a huge favor. Drop a like, hit the subscribe button. Peace.